Star Wars. There, that's all the introduction you really need. Star Wars is one of the most iconic franchises and sagas in the history of mankind. It has roots in mythology, history, and other films. Star Wars is universally recognizable and will not become irrelevant anytime soon. So, since the new Star Wars movie is coming out this month, no time could be better. May the Force be with you, because here's my review on the Star Wars movies. Star Wars, or now it's called Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope, is about a young man named Luke Skywalker, played by Mark Hamill, discovers the two droids that his uncle bought recently are members of the Rebel Alliance and tell Luke that Princess Leia, played by Carrie Fisher, is in danger and needs to be saved. Along the way, he's trained by a Jedi Master named Obi-Wan Kenobi, played by Alec Guinness, and teams up with two smugglers named Han Solo, played by Harrison Ford, and Chewbacca, played by Peter Mayhew. Together, they have to go up against the Empire and an evil man known as Darth Vader, played by David Prost, but voiced by James Earl Jones. One of the things I love are the characters and how they interact with each other.
Who is this? What's your operating number?
Boring conversation anyway.
Luke, we're gonna have company!
Can't get out that way.
Looks like you managed to cut off our only escape route.
Maybe you'd like it back in your cell, Your Highness.
Aside from the protagonist, the villain Darth Vader is easily one of the best villains of all time.
To find the rebels' hidden fort.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
If I had to pick my favorite moment, it would have to be this part. It shows Luke's want for adventure, and it shows how effective music can be in a movie. There's also plenty cool action scenes, as well as funny ones as well.
You think a princess and a guy like me?
No.
But aside from being a classic, it does have its flaws. One thing is how the stormtrooper hits his head in the door. The other is the cutting frames effect that really needs to go away. Other than that, this is a great movie, and my favorite of the Star Wars saga. It has amazing use of miniatures and a nice mainstream take on science fiction. What made it also interesting was the fact that this movie had a lot of production problems, and critics wrote it off that it was gonna fail. How wrong they were. I give Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, 3.5 stars out of 4. The next one would be The Empire Strikes Back. Unlike its predecessor, this one was not directed by George Lucas because he was busy collaborating with Steven Spielberg on Raiders of the Lost Ark. Years later, Luke and his friends are hiding out on a planet with other rebels when the Empire discovers where they are. Luke is visited by the spirit of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he tells him he needs to continue his Jedi training with Master Yoda. While he goes to train with Master Yoda, his friends are on the run from the Empire. Although I do agree with many people that The Empire Strikes Back is another great movie, I have to be honest and say it's my least favorite of the original trilogy. The main reason why is that compared to the other two, not much happens to expand on more action. But that's fine, because this movie is more philosophical in ways of the Force, it has a lot of great lessons that can be learned, and it feels like a classic old story from mythology. I honestly did not care much for the subplot involving the rest of the characters outside of Luke until they got to Cloud City. There they meet another interesting character named Lando, played by Billy D. Williams, who was the original owner of the Millennium Falcon. I also found it interesting that the voice of Yoda, aka Frank Oz, has also been associated with other puppets when it comes to voice acting. In addition, Yoda's character is a representation of the Force itself. Although Yoda is a small person, he is very powerful and wise with his knowledge of the Force.
For my ally is the Force. And a powerful ally it is. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. You must feel the Force around you.
The most memorable scene in the entire movie is when Luke fights Darth Vader. The lighting and the choreography is really good, but it later results in one of the best plot twists of all time.
No, I am your father.
Although I did feel like this one didn't have much action, and the effects don't look as great as the other ones in the trilogy, it's a great movie. I give Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, 3.5 stars out of 4. The last in the original trilogy would be Return of the Jedi. Originally, it was supposed to be called Revenge of the Jedi, but George Lucas stated that Jedi don't take revenge, but he definitely would reuse this word in another Star Wars movie. After completing his training with Yoda and saving his friends, Luke Skywalker decides to confront his father while the rebels make one final assault against the Empire.
It's a trap!
Darth Vader then introduces his son to the Emperor, played by Ian McDiarmid, who tempts him to join the dark side. Return of the Jedi was a nice finish to the original Star Wars trilogy. The movie itself is split into 3 acts. The first being Luke saving his friends from the infamous Jabba the Hutt, voiced by Larry Ward, infiltrating the base on Endor, and finally reconfronting Darth Vader. The best thing about Return of the Jedi is that it has a good beginning, a mildly slow middle, but an exciting and fully engaging third act. The movie is filled with a lot of nice special effects, and the action was at its highest in this point in the original trilogy. One of the odd additions were the Ewoks. They were definitely in the movie to appeal to kids, and looking back in the movie, I could really not buy the fact these guys could actually take on stormtroopers. I could take the Gungans more seriously. I know that's kind of stepping on toes, but at least the Gungans didn't look like teddy bears. The other thing I never liked was this really bad song number that was never in the original movie, but was added in the special edition. Trust me, I am not going to talk anymore about the changes in these movies. Enough people have already complained about them, and I'd be wasting my breath if I talked about them even more myself. But I can overlook those faults by the true strength of this movie. We already knew by this point that Luke and Darth Vader were related, and this made Darth Vader more human and complicated as a character. To me, this line where Luke refuses to make the same mistakes as his father and takes the high road is my favorite part of the whole movie.
I'll never turn to the dark side. You failed, Your Highness. I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
It might not be perfect, but it was a great way to tie up the trilogy. I give Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, 3.5 stars out of 4. So, stay tuned next time where I review the Star Wars prequels. Well, looks like Han Solo did what millions of fanboys wish they could do.